Don't put that in the final cut.
And we'll just start that one again. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Photography Pubcast. This feels weird, doesn't it? Because we've literally been together for the last hour. As you can see, it's the five of us again on this episode, surprisingly enough, because no one's popped in the last half an hour or so. And in this episode, which is going out on Wednesday, here's the question.
What did you think of episode 1? Did it work?
Let us know.
Look, what we spoke purely about photography. Let us know.
Here's another question as well, right? Do I call this episode 2 or 1B?
Oh, episode 2. It's got to be episode 2.
Right.
Do you feel that it's a little bit more relaxed now? As soon as we know that the pressure's off to talk about photography, we're just kind of, you know what I mean? Pressure's off now. Isn't it?
My mum said she's not going to bother with the photography one. She's just going to tune into this rubbish.
This is another really interesting thing, because by splitting it into 2, we can work out what people actually really want to hear about, because we'll know whether they're watching the photography-based one or whether they're watching the utter bollocks one. So we can work it out from that.
Anyway, just not watch either of them.
That's true. That could be the upshot. Here's the thing, though, right?
The trouble is, just picking up on the conversation that we were just having pre-recording. Wednesday night is Traitors Night, so everybody's going to be glued to Traitors on Wednesday night rather than watching this. So our viewing figures from the start,
I think we'll get a bigger audience than Traitors.
Well, I can put it out on Tuesday. What's on Tuesday?
6.1 million.
What's on Tuesday?
Street? Emmerdale?
Who the hell watches telly these days?
I
was going to say, surely no one watches live TV anyway.
Well, Traitors is different though, because we've got family. So so like my daughter at university, we all watch it together live, so we can chat about it. And my other daughter's boyfriend. Well, no, actually, sorry, Dave. Hang on a minute. When I say we, they, right? Just put that out there. Yes, Daz?
So I don't know how long ago this would have been, right? So this would have been about 25 years ago, maybe longer. Do you remember the original Tomb Raider game when Lara Croft, when it first came out? So I was doing a lock conversion for this couple who had 2 children, and he wasn't allowed to play this game on his own. It became a family event. So they would all sit down at about 6 or 7 o'clock at night and watch him play for an hour and try and solve all the where he had to go. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of that. But I thought I've never heard of that before, when the whole family sits down to watch somebody play a video game.
No.
Although I suppose it's not unusual, because you get people now, don't you, making a living from playing
Twitch.
video. So I suppose it was the earlier version of Twitch.
Offline Twitch.
Sounds
like a something you get if you. Never mind. Okay, so let's just ask. I mean, this could be the whole episode here with you guys. What you lot have been up to? How have we all been in the intervening period between the last episode and this episode? And I think it would be remiss of me not to start with Dave.
Yes,
Dave.
What happened was, after we recorded the last one, I took the dog for a walk on Saturday morning, took the van out to the mountains on Sunday for some photography, and Monday and Tuesday were quite busy with work.
That's a good point. What happened? Yes, that's a good point. Yeah, sorry, not the last episode, Dave. Imagine that we haven't all got the one before that. So what's happened over the period between the episode before the one that we just recorded on Sunday? It's getting confusing. And now, what's happened, Dave?
Well, I learned some valuable life lessons, actually, that when you're in a wheelchair at an airport, you are completely invisible.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
And I gained a huge respect for those people that live their lives with disability. And in the past, I've supported things like the Disabled Photographers Society and those sort of charities. And my efforts to support them will now be double what they were, because the lessons that I learned were that it's a tough gig and you could use whatever help you can get. So I went to the US, I landed in Denver, got a hire car, drove over the Rockies to the western side to a little town called Ouray. And I'd always wanted to visit this place and a place about 20 miles down the road called Silverton along this route called the $1 Million Highway, which is jaw-droppingly spectacular. But it's all at quite high elevation. And 48 hours into this trip, I started to feel really, really ill. And in the past, I've been to high elevation and not had any problem whatsoever. But I'm a fair chunk older now. And so the next day, I went down to the desert in Utah, to Moab, and I visited Canyonlands and Arches. And towards the end of that day, I was struggling to walk more than 5 meters, not because I was out of breath, but because my legs felt like they'd been set in concrete. When I got to my accommodation in Moab, went to check in, opened the door to reception, and immediately collapsed on the floor. This girl behind reception must have thought he's drunk, because I was literally lying on the floor. I managed to pull myself up and lean against the counter and check in. I waddled across the car park and I moved my car so it was right outside my motel room, which fortunately was on the ground floor. Went into the motel room, collapsed on the floor, and that was the last time I walked. I crawled around the room, managed to make it to the bog, thought, well, I'll get some sleep and see how things are in the morning. Woke up about 5 a.m. and that day I was due to do my long drive through Salt Lake City up to Idaho. So I thought, well, I'll do that anyway. So I was more embarrassed than anything. It was 5 a.m. I thought, well, nobody will see me. So I crawled on all fours out the door, pushing my backpack in front of me across this concrete, scuffed up my backpack because I'm in chronic. Put it in the car, literally hauled myself in. My legs were like a mermaid's tail. They were completely useless. I could feel them. It wasn't like I'd had a spinal injury, but they just weren't working. They couldn't hold my weight up. I tried and I just flopped onto the floor. So I got in the car. I had just enough movement in my feet. If I kind of lifted my leg between the accelerator and the brake, it was an automatic, of course, in the States, that I could drive. So I drove 6 hours up to Idaho Falls. And I thought, right, well, what do I do? I know. I'll go to a hospital and see if they can sell me a pair of crutches. So I got to a hospital and I thought, I can't get out the car. How do I get into the hospital? Somebody was walking past and I said, excuse me, I've got a medical emergency. Could you ask somebody to come out with a wheelchair? Which very kindly, he went and got a wheelchair and came out and helped me into it. They wheeled me in. The hospital started, we're going to do tests on this, that, and the other. I said, no, I just want to buy some crutches. They said, they'll be no use to you. So they gave me a Zimmer frame and said, try that. And I kind of got into it, immediately just fell on the floor, couldn't hold myself up. They said, well, you can't drive. And I managed to talk them into letting me go because I thought, well, I could be stuck in Idaho Falls for God knows how long. Lovely Mrs. G at home worrying. So I talked them into letting me get back in the car, went over to my accommodation with this fold-up Zimmer frame in the passenger footwell, got to the accommodation. There was a ramp right outside. So I'll park right by that and, just tell them I had to park here. Got the Zimmer frame out. It's the same thing as happened in the hospital 10 minutes earlier. Straight on the floor in the car park, looking around, make sure nobody can see. I was more embarrassed than anything. Hauled myself back into the car and thought, okay, so I can't stay here tonight. So at that point, I'm out of gas. So I had to get some gas in the car. And I thought, well, if I fill the car up, that'll get me to the airport that I'm flying out of in Bozeman, Montana. So I went to a Chevron and I thought, I'll do the hospital trick again. So some bloke's filling his car up. I said, excuse me, I've had a medical emergency. He scuttled off like I was trying to mug him. So I'm sat there. It's about 7:00 on a Friday night in the middle of nowhere, and it's really quiet, and there's nobody coming to this Chevron. So I sat there for a while and thought, what do I do? I looked it up online. There was a phone number, so I rang, and the bloke in the kiosk, I said, look, there's a car on your forecourt. Don't panic. I'm just stuck. Oh, no problem, he says. Came out, filled the car up, took some cash, went in, got me a couple of bottles of water. So I drove down to Jackson Hole and slept in the car. And I went to Grand Teton, slept in the car. And I was determined to still do photography. So I was pulling into these viewpoints. And obviously I was stuck with what I could see from where I was parked. But I got my tripod out and parked it up and angled the car so that I could get the shot that I sort of wanted. And I got 4 or 5 images I'm really happy with. After that, I drove through Yellowstone. Yellowstone's an abomination. It's just a theme park. I saw Old Faithful go off, and I thought, yeah, okay, but it's not a landscape photography location really, apart from the main river canyon. But I couldn't get to that, so I drove through, went up to a little town near Bozeman I'd intended to visit called Livingston, right on the Yellowstone River. Found a little park by the river where people come and park up and walk their dogs, and I made that my base for the next couple of days. Great thing about America is everything's drive-through, so I could drive and get a cup of coffee in the morning and all that. I had a cheeseburger on the first night, 2 American breakfasts. I didn't eat after that. I wasn't hungry, so I had 3 meals in the entire week. The main thing was getting home because I needed to sort out wheelchair on the plane. I couldn't take the car back to Avis, so I just left it on the red bit at departures. Got the lady with the wheelchair to wheel me over to the Avis desk in arrivals and said, your car's outside, here's the keys, bye. And that was that. I haven't had the bill yet, but it's probably going to be eye-watering when it comes through because it was full of trash and a fold-up Zimmer frame. But I got American Airlines to sort me out with wheelchairs. Fascinating how they get you into your seat on a plane. They have they strap you into this little narrow wheelchair thing and they haul you in, and they're brilliant. I mean, to be fair, they were very good. And I was coming back on the ferry from Dublin to Holyhead, but there's no wheelchair facilities on the ferry. I'd have been dumped on the side of the road from an Uber at Holyhead, Dublin Port. I'd still be there now. So I had to arrange an extra flight, got a mate to get a wheelchair to come to Liverpool Airport and pick me up. That was it. And of course, the whole time I'm thinking, well, is that my life now? But when I found out what it was and you got more medical input and they said it would be okay in a week to 10 days, and they were right. I'm absolutely fine now. But that was my story. It completely bollocksed up my trip. But what I found was that you can still do photography if you're that determined and you've flown all the way to the States and the scenery is that good. You will still get some photographs, whatever you're faced with. So that's.
So sorry, just go back again, Dave. What was the actual cause?
It was a high altitude cerebral edema, and it's where you get fluid pressure on the brain stem, and so your motor system doesn't work properly. It doesn't work at all below the waist. But when I was in hospital, they said, "Oh, what else is going on below the waist?" I said, "Well, not much, mate. I'm of a certain age." And he said, "No, that's not what I mean." he said, but they kind of determined that it wasn't some kind of spinal thing. The other possibility was Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a similar sort of thing, but it's virus induced and it can take about 2 years to recover from. So I was hopeful that it wouldn't be that, and luckily it wasn't.
So when you was in the States and you, as you've said, like you was dragging yourself along and all this, at that point, how serious did you think it was on a scale of say 1 to 10? Because
that's what I thought. I thought I was properly.
Well, I'm just thinking that if that was me, I wouldn't even been thinking about photography. I would be thinking, I need to get home and get this sorted.
Well, I had a flight booked. Yeah. I could have diverted from Moab across Interstate 70 straight back to Denver and got a flight back. But I just thought, well, I'm just going to get home and not be able to walk. I might as well be here and not be able to walk. It's, lots of people live in wheelchairs and go about doing what they can do. I'd planned this trip and I'd seen a lot of what I wanted to see. So it was really only Wyoming that was going to be a struggle. And I just thought, no, the the main thing was I had some really nice accommodation booked, so I lost all of that. But you just, you solve the next problem and then the next problem, and in the end up looking back on it, I enjoyed a lot of it. I guess I'd feel differently if I was doing the wheelchair now.
Yeah,
but I'm not.
Yeah, but I think if that was me and I all of a sudden couldn't walk, and there was a toss up between I need to get home and get diagnosed or where's me box brownie, I think I would have been on the flight straight back home. So fair play to you.
But I had some faithful YouTube people that were waiting for these videos. I think
and to be fair, Dave, what was it called again?
A high altitude cerebral edema.
You remember when we went up? Where did we go up?
Gary, you have never had that.
Listen, you remember when we went up that fell? Hill. What was that fell called?
You walked. Which one? King's Howell.
King's Howell. I had a high altitude cerebral edema
meters
on the way back down, which explains why I kept falling over. It makes sense now, Dave. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's it.
And I still carried on as well. So, kudos to me. Well, I mean, never mind Dave. Yeah. Dave might have been crawling around on his, dragging his legs behind him, but I had to find that pub.
You see the difference though between Dave's story, where he was dragging himself along, and you just bitched and moaned for about 4 hours because you walked up a hill.
Cerebral high altitude edema.
You're going to remember that now, aren't you?
I'm going to remember that forevermore.
There's only one real downside to it, which is slightly disappointing, is that I now know that things like even driving through a pass on the Alps would be a problem for me.
Oh shit! So it's not. It wasn't just a one-off for you. It's if you do that's likely to happen again.
I am at an age and of a physiological disposition where that's now a potential recurring problem if I allow it. So I gotta, I can't go back to Colorado. I can't. There's no opportunity to ever see that again. That said, it was all bucket list stuff, and I tend to tick stuff off and then I don't revisit it. So I can die knowing that I saw that with my own eyes, and my God, it was worth seeing.
I'll be honest with you, Dave. If anything's come out of this, sorry, Daz. If anything's come out of this,
you're not that sorry. Carried on.
I'm not taking that risk. I can't risk King's Howell or any kind of altitude like Scafell Pike or perhaps even moving out of the fence.
When was you ever going to do Scafell Pike?
I was thinking about doing Striding Edge. Is it Striding Edge?
Yeah, I come down Swivel Edge the other day.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that and Fat Man's Agony, and I can't do that now because who knows when you might get a high altitude cerebral edema.
Well, there you go.
But you'd have a really good excuse for using drive-throughs, though.
That's true. I thought I'd just use them anyway. Which, by the way, before we go any further, leads me on to a YouTube question, not a YouTube question, a Facebook question that we had from Gary Stone saying, can I estimate how much I spend on McDonald's? I don't have McDonald's that much, I know it's a running joke.
Compared to Burger King, isn't it?
No, I mean, I can't actually genuinely remember, other than this morning, the last time I had a McDonald's. Philly cheese stacks are back. What can I say? So Dave, let's go to Daz because you ain't beating that, Daz. So what have you been up to?
It's not a competition.
Kind of is a bit though. I'm going to have to make some up now. Go on, Daz. What have you been up to?
It makes my photos in the last show look better though, doesn't it now?
Oh, doesn't it just? Yeah. Now everyone's going, what a trooper. Yeah. What a trooper Dave was.
What a trooper. Yeah.
Can we just let the elephant in the room or talk about the elephant in the room? Daz, your room looks a lot different.
It does look a lot different. After 21 years, we've moved. It was
it's actually moved now.
Pardon? Say that again.
So you've actually moved. I didn't realise you'd actually moved. I think you were moving.
Yeah, we've been in a month now, and we've been looking to move for about 2 years, and we always thought we'd move in about 3 or 4 years' time, something like that. and we was in the lakes in May, and we knew that was going to be the last trip in our motorhome because we decided to sell. And we was walking around Ullswater, and we was just kind of talking about, kind of moving and when we was going to do it, and we was just kind of chatting, and then and it was a genuine question that I said to Helen. I said, so what are we waiting for? And it just went quiet, and we was both thinking, and we couldn't think of a good enough reason why we should be waiting for them 2 or 3 years. So we decided in the lakes that we would sell the house, but we had to get rid of the motorhome first. So we got home on a Thursday from the lakes. Friday, cleaned the motorhome on the inside, and I thought, right, I'll put some photos on Friday night. Well, by Sunday that was sold. So we sold the motorhome within kind of a couple of days. And then the following weekend, we started to just kind of titivate the house, like there's always something that needs doing. So we spent about 2 weekends, 3, 4, maybe 4 weekends, just kind of doing a bit of painting, this kind of stuff, bringing it a little bit up to more a presentable standard. And it went live on the Friday afternoon, 3:00 Friday afternoon. The estate agent shut at 1:00 on the Saturday. So in theory, our house was only live for about 6 or 7 hours. And we got 3 or 4 offers, and it was sold by the Monday morning. So yeah, we found where we are now, and it was absolutely perfect. It was just we couldn't have wished for anything. Everything that was on our tick list is in this bungalow now. So
staff quarters.
There would have been, but our son is home from Australia for a couple of months, so he's actually in the staff quarters now.
So where are the staff?
Having said that, a part of the fence when we moved in
on the lower field.
It's next to the lower field. Yes,
that's a Fast Show reference, by the way.
It was a little bit rickety. So Sam is earning his keep at the moment by putting up this huge fence all the way along the perimeter. So. So that's where the staff quarters are. He is actually staff at the moment.
Okay.
So absolutely love it. But it's just been, that's why I've not been doing a lot of photography, and that's why it kind of sounds very echoey in here, because I thought we had the first kind of weekend off to move, and I honestly thought, the next weekend I'll get all of this room done. This is like a dumping ground. It looks really stark behind me. There is crap everywhere along here, and all the crap that was leaning up against that wall is on the dining room table. When we finish this, it'll all get piled back in here. This is like a junk room at the moment. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it. And we've not had one pang of regret. I loved the house that we lived in. It was a beautiful house, but it needed to either let it to go to someone who's going to just let it fall into the ground, or it needed someone that was willing to spend 50 grand on it and really bring it up to where we once had it. But we just got to the point where it was just because there was so many original features in the old house. There was constant maintenance, not just from a financial point of view, but it was just constant painting.
And let's be honest, Daz. Once the observatory's gone, it's no longer a house, is it?
So where are you now, Daz? Are you still near where you were?
Yeah. So do you know what, Dave? We spent 2 years covering every blade of grass in Norfolk, because that's where we thought we was going to end up. And where we are now, we're a couple of miles from where we used to live. This just came up. And honestly, it is perfect. The garden is about a third of the size, which is, our garden was beautiful in the last place. But again, it's just outside housework, so much maintenance.
So it's just 3 or 4 acres.
Just the 3 or 4 acres. Yeah. No, honestly, we've not had one pang of regret. So, so that's my news.
Brilliant. All right, Jamie, have you got any news? Have you been detecting anything lately, Jamie? Or
I've been doing nothing but work lately.
Really?
But I've.
Oh, hang on. Countdown, please. Countdown.
Oh. 288.
Oh,
it's getting there.
288. Yeah, we are getting there. We are getting there slowly. But unfortunately, the next 288 days are going to be quite tough, I think. So, but anyway, that's at least there's a goal there, and it's coming, and I can see it ticking down every day. But yeah, with that in mind, actually, I bought a little something, nothing to do with photography, something else for me to do when I retire. I bought myself a metal detector. Now, some might mock, but it was a hobby that I used to do years and years ago.
Have you joined the club?
I tell you what, you'll be surprised. Sorry, that's what?
Have you joined the club, the Danebury Metal Detecting Association, or whatever it's called?
No, not that one. No, and I don't think I think this is a bit like photography and camera clubs. I think the detecting clubs have just got a bad reputation. It's just not it's not like that at all.
So
not
you are a member of a
them.
detecting club, then, are you?
Well, the thing is, with detecting, you need permission from the landowner, and you can't go out unless you have permission. So, by the nature of that, you do need to join a club to enable them to give you some land for you and others to detect on. So there is that element.
So you are a member of a metal detecting club, then?
I've joined the Facebook group. Yes, if that counts. That gives me access. But no, listen, it's something years ago, about 15, 20 years. I'd said, if you're going to mock, I'm going to shut up. I wasn't even going to mention it, and I thought, actually, it might be interesting.
I am interested.
I know for a fact there are other photographers out there that are also in this hobby, because I've been talking to some on Facebook. So even YouTubers as well. I won't mention him in case he doesn't want to be called out into the detecting community. But I know there are others out there, and I know it's something that a lot of people get a lot of enjoyment out of. And it's a bit like photography. You're out in nature, you're enjoying the fresh air, you're getting exercise, and if you happen to walk over something valuable, then happy days. It's yours to keep.
So like Dan says, what has been your greatest find?
Clear it.
What's been your greatest find?
I've got lots. When I used to do it, as I say, I've only literally bought it the last couple of weeks. I've not been out much with it. But when I used to do it, I've had Roman coins, Roman brooches, medieval coins. I found, just lots of stuff. And to me, it's about the history of the item, and the fact that you're holding something that was dropped out of a pocket or off of a jacket or a tunic or off of a horse or something like that. Hundreds, if not thousands, of years ago. The Roman stuff, because where we live around here is full of a lot of Roman history. There's lots of Roman history around here. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, all of this area, Peterborough, as you know, is a massive Roman city in Peterborough. So there's a lot of Roman history around here, and it is amazing what is out there that is under your feet that you just don't realise, and including gold. In fact, where I was a couple of weeks ago, when I went out for the first time, somebody came back with a gold ring, medieval gold ring. Literally found it. I could have walked over it myself. So it is there. But as I say, it's just another hobby to get out, enjoy the fresh air, get a bit of company, have a bit of banter with the other guys around the burger van at lunchtime. All that sort of stuff I just enjoy it. It's good. So you can mock me if you want.
I might 7 as well.
I don't give them monkeys.
I like the idea of it. The only thing is, when I used to go carp fishing, and you get that kind of sound from the bite alarm. And I might watch a YouTube, and you kind of get the bite alarm running off, and I still get that little kind of butterflies in my stomach. But you have to be careful when you don't go to Tesco's and they start scanning baked beans. You get your trowel out, you know what I mean? Because it's the same kind of sound. So in a couple of years, there'll be like a
whole competition to dig in Tesco's, though.
The next question is: has Sam taken up train spotting?
Well, I live in Scotland now, so it's a different sort of train spotting.
Genuinely, all joking aside, I used to watch. There was this thing that was about them going on the banks of the Thames, you know, and
Mudlarking.
looking for, you know, but I think you need a permit for that now, don't you, to do that?
Mudlarking, it's called.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm not joking. I find that sort of thing fascinating. So
I don't mind a bit of mud wrestling, I must say.
Mud wrestling.
Oh,
yes,
did I mishear?
That's a whole other thing, Dave. But equally, something I would enjoy. Charlotte Church, perhaps. Sorry, we were just talking about traitors. But no, I genuinely, I'm not. I know you might think that, you know, it's a bit of a joke and that, but I would be quite interested to do something.
I
like
would.
That. Yeah, genuinely.
I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think before
you just said about carp fishing or fishing generally. It's very similar to that. You know, you never know when the bite alarm goes off or your float goes down. You never know what you're gonna catch, and it's exactly the same with this. You walk over something, you dig it. It might just be a pile of crap, it might be a ring pull or a tin can, but ultimately there is a good chance that it could be a medieval coin or a gold coin or a Roman or a Saxon or even Bronze Age. There's a lot of Bronze Age stuff. Yeah. Tiny little Bronze Age coins. So
yeah, like you say, where you live, it's ripe for that sort of thing. Peterborough is really, there's a lot of old settlements around that area. So yeah, no, fair play to you.
Who knows? In a couple of years' time, it could be the Detecting Pubcast.
It could be. Yeah. You never know. It could be. I mean, none of us seem to take a photo anymore, do we? You know, so can't rule it out. Sam, what have you been up to, mate?
I don't think I've been up to much, actually. It's really boring. I was just sat here thinking I don't think I've even spoken much in the entire second episode of a week yet, and then I was thinking, you're going to come to me, and I'm not going to say much. What have I been up to? I've not been doing photography until a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm starting to hopefully go back out. I was saying to Darren actually before we started recording, I've been quite ill the last I think it's been about a month, and I've still got a cough. But I had COVID for a while. And then it just turned into a cold, and now it's just turned into a cough. Not really badly ill, but it's just at that point where it's just annoying. So I've not been out an awful lot, not been up to much. Yeah, but not doing photography. I've been doing other things. I've been taking up guitar again. So that's kind of I've been really enjoying that actually, because I used to play a lot of guitar when I was kind of in my early 20s, and then it kind of fell on the back burner, and then as I've mentioned before, I used to be in a band, but now all the band members...
are you getting a band back together?
Well, yes and no. So we live all over the place. So the singer now lives in Qatar, and the drummer lives in New Zealand, and the bass player is actually only in Surrey, so it's not quite so far. But so we can't play together anymore. But what we can do is record our own tracks and share them. So actually, I've been before I got into photography, the reason I took up photography was actually because Hannah took up photography as a protest because I was spending too much money on recording equipment for guitar, so I could record guitar. So actually lately I've been getting back into that again a little bit and miking up the amp and recording a few tracks, including tracks from the band where we had recorded demos but hadn't done a proper studio recording, because now, like they did with the Beatles recently when they released that kind of final Beatles single, you can use AI to extract stems out of music, so you can extract the vocals or you can extract the drums. So we've got some old kind of demos which were never really recorded properly, but they had a drum track on them or they had a vocal track on them. So I've been using the AI to extract those out and kind of re-record things a little bit. Whereas in the past we would have spent thousands of pounds and gone into a music studio for a few days to do it. These days you don't really need that. You can do quite a lot just with some relatively basic equipment at home. So that's what I've been up to. Not photography based, but when I've not been able to go out, I've been messing about with my guitars.
I don't know about you guys, but what I got from that was Sam comparing himself to the Beatles.
Well, I don't want to say anything.
I think you should. I think you should allow us at some point, not necessarily on this episode, but in the future, to hear one of your tracks. I think we should listen to Sam, a Sam track.
I don't know. Well, you could just go and listen to some of my old YouTube videos because they're on there.
Okay. Oh, well, there you go. Now you know. Yeah. Everyone go check that out. It's probably not as popular as How to Take Waterfall Photography, but it could still be good.
That was my own check on that one.
Well, me personally, I've been up to a lot, really. I've quit cricket, by the way. I've quit cricket. I no longer play cricket. Yep. I've had enough of it.
For good?
Yep. For good. Yep. I've had enough of it. I was.
Why?
Do you know what? Right. I don't know about you guys, but if you play sport, right? If you're a sports player as such, the worst thing that can happen to you, in a team environment, so not singular, but in a team, the worst thing that can happen to you is to go from, for sake, what are you doing, to, oh, never mind. Right, it's the worst thing. So from being like berated for your mistakes to being like pitied for your mistakes, and that's kind of where I was starting to get to with cricket. So it's like, I know at that point it's time to stop, because people are now looking at me as someone who couldn't do it anyway. So and I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't getting any runs, and I was fielding it. If you know cricket, I was like fine leg to fine leg, which is like basically telling you
Is that like the milk monitor?
It's kind of like telling you past it. We want to put you in a position fielding that is the least damage to the team. So it's like, so at that point I was like, nah, this is not for me anymore. So I kind of quit doing that. I'm supposed to be playing in the FA Cup qualifying round for walking football on Sunday. But I'm not going to be able to do that because I've got a bit of an injury. So, and don't tell anyone. I hope they're not watching, but I'm going out tomorrow in London.
That's so that high altitude sickness.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
That's
what was it? High altitude cerebral edema. Was that right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about? Thank you. So yeah, so I can't. I'm going out tomorrow to an indie day disco thing, so I'm not going to be able to make that. But also, I do have an injury. I've got a bit of a knee injury. So, other than that, I don't really. My shoulder's a bit better. I've given up. You see behind me there the old VR headset. Don't use that anymore. Ruined my golf. Like literally ruined my golf. So
we're going to have a round of golf then. That's what we should do. We should have a podcast.
Oh my God. Can we? But can we wait until I can play golf again properly? Because
I've not played for about 5 years. So,
in that case, let's do it.
I've not played since I was 12.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I'm up for a round of golf. If you guys want to do a podcast golf thing, as long as you haven't played for a long time, and Stuart, you can't come. I'm sorry.
Stuart's not coming, no.
You're not allowed.
No. I felt really bad last week. So we was in the lakes last week, and I think it was on a Saturday? It was a storm. So we was there on the Friday, and they said, the market has been cancelled. Some of the shops are not going to open. But we had to go to Keswick in the morning, and we had to go to the hardware shop right next to Stuart's shop.
Oh yeah.
And we kind of walked on the other side of the road, and Stuart's shop was in kind of total darkness. And we went into the hardware shop, and then came out. And so there was like me, Helen, my son, my daughter-in-law, and the baby. And we were just standing outside Stuart's shop, and I was just kind of saying, this is Stuart and his shop and these photos. And then obviously the lights came on because Stuart was actually out the back. And he came to the door, and at that point, I couldn't really run away. And so he kind of opened the door, and then we all kind of just piled into. I went in to be polite, but I thought, the last thing he needed was all of us lot in there. So we was in there for like 5 or 6 minutes, and I went, "Come on, guys, let's kind of go." I'm sure he's got more important things to do than make small talk with all of us lot.
It's weird when you do that, isn't it? It's like today I was in the co-op, right? And there's a guy who lives across the road, and he's a really nice guy, really, really nice guy. No reason like not to want to talk to him. And I saw him in the other aisle, and I was like, oh God. I sort of headed off down the other way, thinking I don't want to talk to him. And then he caught me at the tills anyway, and I talked to him anyway. But I'm like, why did I not want to talk to him in the first place? I felt like he's not going to want to talk to me. Oh my God, I don't want to see him. Yeah, very awkward. Very awkward. All right, so I mean that was a long what have we been up to, but epic. And Dave, I've got to say, it's good to know that you're back to some sort of normality.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we were worried about you, you know. Like, yeah, it's not good, not good. So I think, look, that was the entree, if you will, but the real main course of this episode is going to be this question that we've got from Wolfie Smith, and so he says, when you put your socks on, he says, wait, when you put your socks on, boots, gloves, etc., do you always put them on in the same order? So, like, e.g., do you put your right sock on and then your left sock on, or vice versa? So this is something, because I actually was thinking about this, and I genuinely have an order, and I feel uncomfortable if I don't put them on in a certain order. So let's start with Sam, because Sam was nodding. I think Sam's got an order. Sam, what's your order?
Well, it's right first. Of course it is. Like, why would you stick your left one on first? Is that because you're right-footed? Do you think that's because are you right side heavy? I'm right. So
actually,
I'm weird because I'm cross dominant. So I'm kind of.
Well, I don't want to know your sexual preferences. I want to know about what you do when you.
My vision is cross dominant. So I do some things left-handed, like I play snooker left-handed because my left eye is more. I look through the camera lens with a different eye, I think, to most people.
You know, that's really weird because me and you are very similar.
Yep.
Yeah, because I play snooker right. I'm left-handed, but I play snooker right-handed, tennis right-handed, golf right-handed, cricket left-handed. I'm left-footed.
Yeah.
And my dominant eye is my left, though. Definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
I didn't know you was a lefty. All these years, I didn't know you was a lefty.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm mess
right.
with me because
I'm right-handed. I'm right-footed, but I do things like snooker left-handed. So not very well, obviously. But yeah, of course.
Back to the point, anyway.
Only a weirdo would put the left sock on first, surely.
How very dare you? I think Jamie's got something to say.
First.
I think.
Do you know what? It's one of those questions that I'm thinking. I ain't got a clue. I've never really thought about what I put on, but I guess if you had to think about it, that's why I just went. It would probably be my left, but I've no reason other than I think that one just, I don't know, it just comes up first naturally to me, and then you go for that. I don't know. It's just one of those things you don't really think about. You just do it, so yeah.
Now here's the next question.
I've never done it. I'll have to think about it next time.
Do you go sock or sock shoe?
Oh, sock. Yeah.
Dave, you look interested in this conversation.
I can't believe I'm sat here. You know, my life is drifting away into oblivion and I'm listening to this drivel.
But sometimes I go sock shoe, and I don't know why.
Whoopie do.
So are you just walking about in bare feet and then you suddenly decide I've got to put my shoes and socks on?
Genuinely at times, I've gone sock shoe and then the doorbell's rang and I'm like, shit, I've got literally one foot completely clothed and the other one naked. What do? That's just the truth. And the other thing, do you know the other thing as well, right? And here's one for you. And you don't even think about this until you get a bad shoulder, right? How do you put your t-shirts on? Do you go arm, head, arm? Or do you go arm, head? Or do you go head, arm? No, seriously. Because Dave, don't look like that. Seriously. This is all, it's important stuff. Because when my arm was knackered, so I couldn't lift my arm up, I always went head, arm, pull it on, right? Which I never even realised. I didn't even have to think about it, right? But then when my arm was hurting, I had to put it on my arm first, and then head, and then arm. But then the problem is this arm, it all gets ruckled. Is it ruckled? Is that what you call it? And I couldn't pull it down because my arm, it was a nightmare. It was a logistical nightmare, Dave.
Oh, sorry to hear that. I'm just going to mute you and watch some YouTube.
Okay, well, look, we can. I think we've all. Has anyone else got anything to add to that? No. Okay. Well, thanks, Wolfie, for that question. I mean, I think that was important personally, and I know you guys are literally, not even. But weirdly, as well, can I say on the Facebook page, that's got the most replies. It's got 5 replies. Like Kevin Joseph has gone sock or sock boot. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for your thought. Gary Stone has said, I always put left sock and shoe before right, which I've done at times, but I feel kind of weird about that. And then Kevin Joseph says anything else is for weirdos and Sony shooters. So,
actually, it's something that I've never thought about. Never. It's just.
Only
not
that,
funny, but when you get to my age, you're just lucky you're wearing pants every day. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't even think half the time. I just kind of get dressed and go out the door.
Maybe though, and I'm talking to you, Dave, maybe it is something we need to think about more. It is something we need to consider.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Wolfie Smith ends up by saying Darren lets his manservant decide. So, moving on. Do you want oh, this is a good one, actually. This is a good one. Tony Faulkner says, should phones be banned in school and the workplace?
At school, I think, yeah. Not in the workplace. Well, it depends what environment you're in.
Well, it'd be shit in a call centre, wouldn't it?
I didn't think of that. Yeah, it would.
Yeah. Dave, because I'm trying to bring you back in here. Schools, phones,
should they be banned? Work a lot harder than this. I don't see the necessity for phones in school. Certainly, I think that's quite ludicrous. But workplace depends. I mean, my workplace, I have to have my phone with me because I need it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a silly question, isn't it? Really.
I'm not gonna lie. That Tony, in a workplace, is a bit silly, but schools, I mean, that is a big issue. I think there's so many things in schools where the phone is just a really bad thing. But then we've had this before because we've had our school where my kids used to go to talking about banning phones, and the problem is the parents will then say, well, what about when they're out of school? What about if they need a lift, or if they've got an emergency and they need to use their phone?
Well, it's easy. They just hand them in when they arrive at school, like checking your coat in a cloakroom.
Yeah, but that's a massive logistical problem for the schools. That's a huge logistical problem for the schools, though, isn't it?
I don't see why. I mean, you just have a lockbox. It's dead easy.
Well, but we got on with it, didn't we? We didn't have phones at school, did we? And we still all survived.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I bet it was like one of them phone hacker jobs, wasn't it?
It was a Nokia 5110 or whatever. Yeah, but yeah.
I bet it said, "Bose, stop playing Snake."
Yep, it was Snake. Yep. Yeah. That was how he occupied.
Was it like Trigger Happy TV? Like a giant. Hello, I'm in school.
Yes, I can't. I'm in an exam.
I think mobile phones. I mean, me and my boy, when we was hiking last weekend, we was having this discussion. Obviously, Jack's kind of 30 years younger than me. But even he says, like, he just gets fed up with his phone. It's too easy. It's too much of a distraction, and it is. But at the same time, I think like we all would, we would really struggle now. to go
Oh
back.
my God.
We really, because I just listen to stuff, not so much now because of the role that I do at work, but before that, my phone, if you looked at my, like my YouTube history or my watch time, it would be like kind of like 7 or 8 hours a day. You think I'd be like addicted to watching it, but you listen to things. I put me because I used to work on my own, put my earphones in, kind of like get through the day. It was great. I really enjoyed it, but I must admit, like, I think it's dangerous to sit there for hours and hours just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I've never kind of did that for too long. It was more listening to things, But I'd really struggle not to have my phone at work. I really would.
I think phones are a fantastic aid, but they've made us really stupid. Because nowadays you never think, you never have to think, you never go, who was that in that program that I really enjoyed? You just go Google and you find it, and it's like it's taken away our mental ability.
Yeah, that was kind of related to what I was gonna say, because I also we had the storm here last weekend and the power was off for 24 hours, so it went off Friday evening and didn't come back again until Saturday evening. So that whole time when there was no phone, there was no 4G, there was no power. So all I could do was light a candle and read a book, which is what I did, and that's how I entertained myself. And I think of myself as not being a particularly heavy phone user. I really don't post much to social media. Well, I don't post anything to social media. I don't phone that many people. I don't chat to many people. I tend to, if someone messages me on WhatsApp, it normally takes me about a month to reply to them. So I think I don't really use my phone that much. And then what I really noticed when I had 24 hours without being able to use my phone was the number of times when I'd sit and I was just reading my book and I'd think, oh, that's an interesting thing. I wonder where that place is, or I wonder where, what that building is. And I thought, oh, I could just Google it. And you just get so used to it. And there are so many times in that 24 hours where I just thought, oh, I can just look that up on my phone, because you just get used to having access to the entire library of information 24 hours a day whenever you want it, which we never used to have.
Well, I think it's the same with anything, though, isn't it? I mean, you've got the ability to doom scroll Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but if you've got a shred of intellect, you don't waste your time doing it. You use the phone to be a useful tool for looking stuff up and whatever else you want to do with it. And yes, if you're sat in the doctor's waiting room for an hour, you might watch a couple of videos to pass the time. But people who are glued to their phone 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, doom scrolling, if it wasn't a phone, they'd just, I don't know, they'd be picking their nose or whatever. It's the same as anything. It's like we've all got cameras and we go out and do photography. Lots of people got cameras and could barely take a picture to save their lives. It's you either use it sensibly or you don't. It's not the phone's fault or the fact that it can do stuff. It's the people using it, surely, or misusing it.
I do quite agree.
Jamie?
I was just thinking that I wonder how much of the usage of the device is used as a phone these days. We call it a phone, but how often do we actually phone people on the phone, and how much of that time is actually spent surfing and doing other stuff that your phone can do? I don't use my phone at work, and that's because I use Teams to call everybody now. Everything's done on Teams or Zoom or whatever, as it started to become more popular during COVID. So I don't use my phone a lot for that, but I probably made, I don't know, half a dozen calls in the last 6 months on my phone. I just don't use it as a phone much. It's just it's a multimedia device rather than a device for calling people.
Well, it got me home from the States. I was able to phone American Airlines and book wheelchairs, and I was able to phone the garage and get a tank of gas. So, I wouldn't have been without it. But at the same time, I wasn't in the car like trapped going, oh, well, it's okay, I can scroll on Facebook, because Why would you? It's just garbage.
Well, I mean, I don't go on social media hardly at all now, really. I mean, you know, I may have kind of 5 minutes scrolling through Facebook every now and again, but that's my limit. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I've never been on TikTok. I've got Blue Sky, but you know, very rarely do I go on there. I've come off of near enough all social media, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's
Very
toxic,
sensible.
mate. It's so toxic now.
It is, yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
I think we've talked about this before. Once you
Yeah.
hover over something, that's it. That's your algorithm sorted for the next kind of month, you know, and all you do is get them videos going to pop up. So, yeah, it's best to be off of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, totally agree. I still go on it every now and again. I still do. What is doom scrolling? I was about to Google it, and then I thought, no, that's going to be a bit odd. What is doom? What is that?
I think it's when you have a look, say, on Instagram Shorts or Instagram videos or whatever they are, and the algorithm just keeps feeding you another video after another video, and you just go through them all, and before you realise it, you've been there for an hour.
Exactly.
On the toilet.
Yeah.
On the
Good
toilet. Do you not
description,
find
Sam.
that? Do you find that? You go to the toilet and you think, I'm just going to have a quick look on Facebook normally.
So here's a question, a genuine question. How long do you think it will be before newspapers are a thing of the past? Because, I mean, realistically, I don't know anybody under the age of perhaps 40 that still buys a newspaper. I mean, when I was growing up, I used to commute to London. So every day on the train or wherever, I used to buy, you know, a newspaper. Coming home, I used to either get the Evening Standard or the Metro or something for the journey home. You know, I mean, that because there was no phones back then. So you had to buy a newspaper. But seriously, newspapers must be on decline. The only person that I know buys a newspaper on a regular basis is my stepfather-in-law, who's 80, and he goes there every day in his car to the local petrol station, buys a newspaper, comes home, reads it from cover to cover. He's the only person I know now.
I got a subscription to the Times. I read the Times. I scan it in the week, but Saturday and Sunday I tend to sit and read the Times on my iPad. But I wouldn't go buy it.
That's what I'm saying, Dave. Not a physical copy.
But why would you? Because I don't have to wait for the paper boy to drop it in a puddle. It's there when I want to read it, and it's the same experience without the black fingers.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking actual physical newspapers. How long do we think? You know, I mean, I think within 15 years, surely
before we're dead, before we die out, before our generation die, they will die.
It is a generational thing, isn't it? I think about 15 years is about right. I think,
but quite a few have already fallen by the wayside.
You look at kids nowadays as well, though. Like, and when I say kids, I'm talking 20-somethings. They don't trust anything other than social media anyway. A lot of them call it legacy news, like Donald Trump started. It's legacy news now. The news is not really trusted by a large swathe of the young population. They don't believe it anymore. So, you know, why would newspapers, and let's be honest, newspapers are, especially the tabloids, are some of the most biased reporting you see anyway, depending on who owns them. So I can't now. And who reads paper copy, you know, under the age of 40? Like you say, no one.
That's it.
No one. They consume their news in a whole different way.
It's not just newspapers though. It's magazines and things like that. Anything that was a coffee shop, you know, something that you would read, that you would get a subscription to, that comes through the door. Most of that is dying. You know, the newsprint market is dying. It's got that 15-year longevity left, but a massively reduced market circulation. But the magazine market as well. You know, the magazine printers in the UK 10, 15 years ago, there was 20, 30 big institutions. You'll probably find 2 or 3 now that are still regularly producing magazine titles. So yeah, and a lot of that is done in Europe and shipped in as well. So it's a hugely reduced market.
Let us know in the comments. Do you still buy newspapers?
Yeah.
Or when was the last time you bought a newspaper, a physical copy,
or indeed a magazine?
It was one of the topics which I suggested actually for photography was do we still buy photography magazines? And we won't talk about it here because that's a topic for our photography episode, perhaps. But I work for a publisher, and we are exclusively an academic publisher, so we're publishing scientific journals and also books, so medical information books, which I'm not involved with. I'm only involved in the scientific side of it. But I can see it from there because obviously we have a certain number of journals, and some of these journals are 200 years old. They've been running, and they've always been in print. And now, of course, the only people that buy the print runs of the journals are university libraries, and you kind of query actually even why are they still buying them? And actually, a lot of these journals, because it's all online, everything we publish goes online. That's how people find it. That's what people are reading. When academics are reading research papers, they're reading them online. They're not going to the library and looking up the journals. So now we have these print journals, but we might only print 20 copies, which are used to give out at conferences or go to the societies that sponsor the journals, or libraries might keep a copy just because they like to have a hard copy of everything. And it's just such a shift now of, there is no researcher I know who thinks I need to look up a research paper, I'll go to the library. You just don't. You look it up on PubMed or somewhere. It's all online. So it's almost like a sort of novelty to have things in print now. And I suspect that it'll be the same for newspapers, and it'll be the same for magazines as well going forward.
The only thing that I can say that for me, a book can't be replaced let's say, compared to a Kindle.
Yeah,
there's something about physically holding a book and kind of like turning the page and putting the book down. I've tried looking on a Kindle and on my iPad, and I can do it, but it's not, for me, it just doesn't feel as enjoyable to physically holding a book in your hand.
This is the whole resurgence of vinyl, isn't it? Over again. So kids have grown up now. Most young kids have grown up never knowing vinyl or knowing everything's digital. So everything was either on an MP3 or is now streamed. But they now have an interest in vinyl, that tactile. A lot of sort of my daughter, a few of her friends, they buy vinyl. They've got a record player because they want that tactile, they want that physical thing that they can hold. So maybe that will be the same with books, but I can't see that going to newspapers. I just think newspapers are such a throwaway thing.
Yeah,
it's like today's
the big
news
downside
is
you can't line your drawers with iPads. That's an expensive
This
proposition.
is true. This is true. Although who knows, Dave? Who knows in the future? Who knows? Okay, so thanks for that, guys. I think we'll end right, and just looking forward to this so much. I think we'll end on a question that Ian Elson has sent us in, right? And I hate to say it, Jamie, but I'm going to start with you, right? Okay, what's your best and worst joke? Let's just go for your best. What's your best joke? What is your best joke? So if you're out and you want to tell a joke to someone, what's your best joke, Jamie? Come on. You got to have a joke.
I've not got one.
You've not got a joke, not one. Not one joke in there.
Can we save that for next week? Because I tell you what, that's caught me on the spot because I can never remember jokes, but I do know some good ones. But I haven't got recall for jokes.
Dave, you got okay? Oh, I tell you what, we'll save it for next week. But I'm just going to give you mine now, and I'll think up another one. Right, this is my best joke. Right, so if I'm going out anywhere and I want to impress someone, I tell them this joke. Right, 2 flies, playing football in a saucer, and one says to the other, "We're going to have to do better than this. We're in the cup next week."
I like that. Like that.
That's my best joke, and we'll leave you with that. But Jamie and everyone else, I want a joke for next week. Right, your best joke, okay? Right, Jamie, agreed? Jamie?
Yes, Phil.
Jamie's frozen.
All right. Well, look, thanks for watching. And let us know, genuinely, do let us know if you like this new format of photography on a Sunday and everything else in the midweek. Because, we're flexible, but we're not going to change. So thank you for watching. We'll all see you again on Sunday. I don't know if anyone's else got anything to add before we go.
No, we've been going for a long time. We've been going for
a long time.
Over 2 hours.
Yeah, over 2 hours to split this down into 45 minutes for you guys, which clearly it's going to be more than. Anyway,
I've got a question. Do I sound echoey?
Little bit, but not majorly.
This will get sorted eventually. This will, trust me.
Yeah, it's all right. Just get the padded walls in, you'll be fine. All right, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all on Sunday. Goodbye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, bloody hell.